Right, I've taken off all the tape on the front here and just squared these edges up like I said. That's all done. Just waiting to be grouted up, which I won't be doing until I've finished. Now, I need to get this tree, even though it's a little bit out of shot, over the back here. Now, I've been looking, if we turn it round, I'm going to need to extend this base right up to the edge here. So that's what I'm going to do next. All I'm going to do is extend it. I'm going to use some decorating filler with a little bit of PVA in it and just bring it up, because it doesn't have to be absolutely critical. I will extend it to this part here so I can put a little tiny bit more block work in, and I will be knocking that last curb out, and I'll be finishing it off with a full length of curbs, because these are the piers. Not this particular one, but I've got some other ones. We're going to have one pier there, another one here, and one right at the end, and we're going to have railings all the way along with a small piece of wall underneath. But I will show you that when I get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get this all filled up, get this levelled off and dried, and get this corner piece in. Well, I thought while the base was drying, we have a quick look at these. These are pillars, as you can see, and they're cast. You cast them. They look a bit like that. That's the 18-inch. But you've got a 13, an 18, and a 26-inch piers, which you mould yourself. Now they're very easy to. Very easy. That's the way they come out of the mould, like that. And then they just interlock, and you glue them together, and you make a really nice little pier. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use on the wall at the back. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be using the 18-inch piers, and then I shall be cutting these ones virtually in half and making a 9-inch wall between each pier. And then on the top of that we'll be making some railings. But also, to cap it, I've actually casted some buff road curbs, which, if they're glued together on top of the wall, they're going to make a perfect capping. But first off, I'll get these glued together, which I don't think you really need to see how to glue something together, because I think you should know. But all I will be doing is just putting a little tiny bit of PVA glue in between each tooth, and then joining the two and letting them dry. And these do actually make a perfect square, even though they're not glued. Look, that is, it's spot on. So I'll do them first. I'll get the piers together, and then I shall show you how I'm going to make a wall using these and just some plain cast ones, because we need to double them up like so to make the 9-inch wall. So I'll get them glued together, and then I'll come back and we'll do the wall. Right, the next question is, how do you cut them? Right, I've marked the legs on how many courses I want up, which is 12, yeah, which is there, and we just do it with a scalpel. It is very easy. If you just lay the scalpel into the joint and just give it a couple of passes through, and then it just breaks, he says, nice and cleanly. And I've done that too much. That's a bit silly, Simon. Oh well. But that's how easy it is. Want to get these round the right way, or intent it is. It's that one we want. So it's just a couple of passes through with the scalpel, then just snap it. And that one's a. So they're very easy to cut. They're very easy to do. But we're going to have to remove. It's already done one for me somewhere. We're going to have to remove some of these teeth. So I think I might just do them with the side cutters, just like so. And just you're going to need one to go against the pier. There's one of the piers. I'll straighten it up in a minute. One to go against the pier, and then these will go 4, and then there'll be another 4 on the back of it to fix it all together. So I'll get all them cut, and then I'll come back again. Right, I've cut all my pieces to size. Got your piers done. Now this part is the back half of the wall, and I'll get my big hands in there. This half is the front, so this half will be glued. They will be glued together like a nice sandwich, and then that will go in between the piers like that. So I shall get them glued together, and hopefully then we can have them stood up right and we can go on to the next bit. Right, I found myself a nice big piece of wood, which, if I move the camera slightly, is here, which I've fixed to my bench for a straight line. Yeah. Now I'm using the grids on my cutting mat as a guide. Now, if we use 2 of these, well, more than 2 actually, we'll stick 3 in. You see, if you stack them up 4 high, it's the same width as your pier. So you got 4 there, and the 5th one makes it the height of the pier. So what I'm going to do is use that straight edge, so I can glue this all together. So 3 pieces of that go in, then my piece of wall, like so, then my pier, and now I can glue that, and it's all going to sit at the right height. So I can get that all glued up, which I shall do now, and then we'll get it stood up and we'll have a look. Right, next bit we're looking at is we need, well, as this is drying, we need to make some copings to go on the actual top of the wall. Now what I'm going to use are some curve edgings. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue 2 of them together like so, and then use them on the top of the wall. The smaller pieces we're going to use as capping pier caps. How I'm going to do that yet, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to probably have to do them at 45 angles on the corners. We'll see how easy that works out. But these will go on the top, and then when it's dry I will drill holes all the way along there to take the actual railings. So they'll actually go into the sandstone, and then there will be a bar across the top with the railings coming up. So I'm going to get gluing while that dries and get these all glued up, and we'll have a look in a minute. Right, the wall's standing up, and the next little task is to make some copings. Now I've glued two of these curb edgings together. See if I can get my big hand right in the way, which these work out just right. Once they sit on properly, they work out spot on. Now I could use a corbelling course or something, or a soldier course, but I think they're going to look okay. And then if we use something like this on the, oh, things are falling off, but if we use these as the pier caps, I think that's going to be close. It's going to be close. Then with some 1mm wire, I shall make the railings, which use a bit of styrene, flat styrene across there. This is 1mm, so I should drill 1mm holes all the way along, and I shall insert 1mm. This is silvered copper wire, jeweler's wire I think it is, and I think that would make a great, I've forgotten the word now, we'll call them bars. I've just totally eluded me then. Right, so railings, sorry, yeah, just totally went out of my head then. I was thinking about other things, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to equally cut these down and get these glued along the top here. I don't think you need to see me do that. I think you can understand what I'm doing there. So I'm just going to cut them down so they're all equal, because to me that little gap in the middle would look a bit silly. So I will cut it about there on that one, there on that one, and then cut a slightly larger piece to go in the middle. Same with on this side, I'll do exactly the same. These three pieces I'll probably just glue together and lay on the top. I was thinking about trying to use these cheeses up somehow as a finishing bit on the top, but watch this space, things come to me as I go along. So I shall get that done, and also I probably will glue this straight to the diorama now, and so it's fixed, so I can work on it without no problems. So hopefully the next clip you'll be seeing this on the diorama and with the coping stones on. Right, I've got the wall fixed to the diorama base, as you can see, and it's just a bit of dry fitting now. I've cut all the I've got the capping stones, sorry, should I say, excuse my big hand, which I'm going to glue on in a few minutes, but just do a bit of a dry fit. That's that side. That is this side. As you can see, I'll move the camera around here. Are we all in focus? Because I use manual focus on this all the time. I think that looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. The next stage, I'm going to glue these on, and get them looking level. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a 1mm piece of styrene, which I've already cut, and we're going to make some. I'm going to make some railings up for it. Nothing too fancy. Just use some. I think this is 0.8. Yeah, I think it's 0.8 wire, and we'll just do railings. But I'm going to drill into the top of these copings and put the wire into the copings, then through this. I think I'll probably set them at about 5mm, because I think that should be about 70. There's a big ruler. Yeah, that's 70. So I'll probably do them every 5mm, because every 10mm is going to be that's going to be too far apart. So it's going to be every 5mm. So that's my little project next. Right, stuck the copings on. Now what I've done, I've cut 2 pieces of styrene. This is the 1mm thick, and marked it up into 5mm spacings. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually lay that flat in there, like so. I'm going to put a little bit of tape on it, put it in the centre, a little bit of tape, and I'm going to drill through the styrene and into the brickwork at set depth. So I'm going to drill them all the way through. So when I lift that up, when I put the wire down, they're all going to match. I'm going to do that on both of them. And also what I did as well, I made some little cappings for the pier caps. Well, for the piers. All this was 3 short lengths of the curb edging, which I glued together. Then I cut another small square to go on the top, and as you can see, they look, excuse my big hand, they look the bit. I think that's going to look pretty good. And I've gone for a change of mind on here. I'm not going to put I was going to use some 12x12 slabs, but unfortunately they're out of stock of the 12x12 slab mould, so I'm going to go for blocks, probably in a herringbone fashion. What I shall probably do here is all this scrap bits and pieces, I will glue that down like that, because then I can't even find a block. That should bring me up. Oh, sorry about that. That should bring me up to the right height to put a block. So that's going to work absolutely fantastically. So what I'll be doing, I'll be sticking all my scrap bits all the way in there to get that filled up and brought up to level. And then I'm not quite sure, I might even do like a herringbone, something a little bit fancier for the footpath. So that's that bit. Hopefully next clip I'll have these drilled and the wires in. Right, as you can see, I've done the railings. I did exactly what I said. Laid the piece of plastic along the bottom here, put a bit of tape on it, and just drilled into it. They came out okay. I'm quite happy with them. And with the pier caps, I think that looks pretty good. Lift you up a little bit. I think that looks alright. I filled this bit in with the waste bits and pieces I had. The far side's been finished off, and this little bit down here. So I'm nearly at my goal. So the next bit is to block pave this bit here, get that done, and then it will be weathering time. Get this grouted, the footpath grouted, and these weathered in just to make it look a bit more older, and that will be this little diorama finished, and then we'll be moving on to a new one. Right, almost done. As you can see, I've finished the railings. Well, it needs painting and weathering now, but I've finished the footpath, the trees in, coping, well, the cappings are on for the piers, and basically that's it. It just needs the bricks grouting up, or the blocks grouting up should I say, and I need to get the railings painted black and a little bit of rust effect on it. The drain, the same, the manhole cover and the drain needs to be rusted up, and a little bit of moss and a few little bits of grass and bits and pieces like that. So it's just generally sort of weathering. I've still got a little bit of tidying up to do, crossing this far corner, and a little bit of tidying up here to do. But if I move the camera very gently, I'm going to have to go into manual focus. I've done the footpath round, as you can see. That's all finished off. The side. So like I say, all it is now is going to be weathering. So that's the end of this video. There will be another one coming up very soon. I'm going to start a build on a half demolished house. Any comments, any questions, please leave it in the box below. If I didn't explain anything, if you want me to change the way that I'm actually doing my videos, please say. Any suggestions, anything to help. So thank you very much for joining me, and if you've managed to sit through all four of these, I hope you've picked some up, useful, little tips here and there. If you're already an expert dio builder, it may give you a good giggle anyway. But there you go, and I'm just going to say thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.